This is Walt Disney World Today. Give us 5 minutes and we'll give you the world.
It's Friday, May 26, 2006, and this is episode number 105 of Walt Disney World Today. I'm Matt Hochberg from MGMstudios.org. Len Testa, the co-author of the unofficial guide to Walt Disney World, is here. Welcome, Len.
Howdy-ho, Matt. How's it going?
Outstanding as usual. And we've got also Mike Newell from Mouse World Radio. I know. There's the mouse and there's a world and a planet.
The planets and the world are the same. You know, they're kind of
exactly. The world is a planet.
Yeah.
Welcome, Mike.
Thanks,
all
Matt.
God's children.
At least I decided to show up today.
Yeah,
on time.
Mike Scopa will be coming in late, so.
But he's got a surprise announcement, so.
Yeah, he's checking the emergency exits right now. And,
Hey, Matt, before we continue, I just wanted to take a moment to remind everybody that this Sunday, May 28, 2006, we'll be having our second live show here at WDW Today. The show will be carried live over Mouse World Radio. You can find more information at mouseworldradio.com, or you can click the link at the WDWtoday.com site. We'll be taking your live questions over the air. If you have a question, you want to give us a call, the expert panel will be here to answer your questions about dining, theme park tickets, anything you might have. Again, that's this Sunday, May 28, 2006, 8 p.m. Eastern, and it will air live on Mouse World Radio 1. And if you can't make it, the show will be archived, just like the first live show was. So you can download that show later on and listen to it at your leisure. Again, it's this Sunday, May 28th, 2006, 8 p.m. Eastern Time on mouseworldradio.com. Matt, back to you.
well, on today's show, we're going to be talking about the reader survey ratings. I'm off to a great start. The restaurant survey ratings from the unofficial guide to Walt Disney World that is coming out in 2007, and Len has got the initial results of it and some surprises on the list, Len.
Yeah, some really interesting results, some big gainers in Epcot, and then a couple of old favorites seem to have dropped off a little bit. So we'll be talking over those for the next 15 or 20 minutes or so, at least until Scopa gets back and wants to lobby us on the Le Cellier review. So why don't we skip over that?
Sure. Well, why don't we start with Beer Garden?
Yeah, interesting. You know, I think we had over the last couple of shows, listener question shows, we had recommended Beer Garden to quite a few people. Interestingly enough, the reader survey for the surveys for the unofficial guide came back very, very positive for Beer Garden. In fact, at one point there were 19 consecutive positive reviews for it. So Beer Garden is definitely going to show a big jump up in reader satisfaction for the 07 edition. Now, for those of you who haven't been here before, this is have you guys eaten there, Mike, Matt?
I have not eaten at Beer Garden. I've eaten at the the Summerfest, I believe, is the name of the
counter service.
Yep.
Newell, have you?
Yes, I have.
When was the last time you ate there?
Must have been about 5 years ago.
It's still the same, but it's still a buffet of German food. So you've got schnitzel, which is, to me, it's fried chicken. It is. It's like fried chicken, boneless chicken breast.
Yeah, it's a chicken cutlet that's breaded, basically.
Right, and so it's the chicken is universal along with grilled cheese. Have you ever told to make my grilled cheese theory? Every culture has some sort of variation on grilled cheese, whether it be cheese quesadilla or... Anyway.
Well, great. Just continue your work on cancer research, and you're done for your...
Exactly.
Now that you figured that part out.
No. So anyway, Beer Garden has it's a German buffet. Matt, we might want to throw the link over to the All Ears Net menu.
Sure.
For Beer Garden on it.
Absolutely.
But it's got sausages and stuff like that. But they also do a decent pork loin occasionally, and there are some fairly good desserts like strudel and things like that. And one of the great things about it is that there's usually live entertainment at Beer Garden as well, like an Oompa band. I mean, really, what's this fine band? So Beer Garden did very, very well this year in terms of...
I think the only problem with Beer Garden that I can see is that some people are just completely turned off by German food. It's kind of like what happened with Norway, but to a lesser extent. I know that...
Maybe. It's not... I mean, again, if you look at schnitzel as just boneless, skinless fried chicken, I don't think you can really go wrong. And really, the schnitzel isn't terrible. Yeah, the best story, though, Christina had Christy and I went to Beer Garden one time for lunch, and we happened to ask what liverwurst was made of. Do you guys know?
No.
And the waitress responded to us that it's liver and fat heavily seasoned, and Christy's response was, "It would have to be." Well, yeah, it would have to be liver and fat heavily seasoned. No kidding.
Well, Mike Scopa has joined us. Welcome, Mike.
Hello, I'm back.
I believe you have an announcement.
I do? Okay, I guess, all right, let's see, how can I do this?
Many years ago.
Many years ago.
Last year.
Well, let's see. Okay, yeah, that's a good place to start. Last year, last year there was a contest that was being held to find the 50 happiest.
This is, for those of you who don't know, we're recording this an hour and a half later than we normally record it. It's way past our bedtimes.
Oh, man. All right, let's see. How much time do we have? Okay,
About a minute and a half.
Got a minute and a half. It's a glorious 3-hour finale.
It's a glorious 3-hour finale.
Last year there was a contest to find the 50 happiest pass holders on Earth. And I was fortunate to have been selected as one of those 50.
It's like being Miss America, but for Disney.
The problem was that I had to attend a media event with Testa while he was drooling over Ashante. Anyways,
God.
And the Evil Knievel.
Not evil, Robbie Knievel.
Robbie,
much
whatever.
cooler. I mean, evil was cool, but Robbie Knievel's cool.
Anyways, that was very nice. Well, it just so happened that today I received a phone call from Disney World saying that they have selected me as a pass holder to attend a media event on June 7th, I believe. Now, I'm hoping I get that date right, but I'm pretty sure she said June 7th. So they are flying me and a guest, who will be my wife. They're flying us, all expenses paid, to New York City to attend the media event.
Great.
Right.
Where is this going to be?
Congratulations.
I don't know.
Ta-da!
And what's going to happen is that they're going to have a Mickey monitor writer with me, and I am going to be, as she said, the eyes and ears of Mickey Monitor, and they're going to get my reaction to the announcement and to the media event, and hopefully I'll report back here, and if possible, maybe we can even have a live podcast or a special podcast devoted to whatever happens on that night. So I just got the phone call today. I'm probably going to get more information later on in this week, and maybe on the live show on Sunday night I can divulge more information. But that's the news. It's kind of exciting. It's a contest I won and I never entered.
That's great. Congratulations.
That is awesome.
Thanks.
Let's continue moving on down the back to the restaurant ratings here. Some interesting ones. Boma continues to do pretty well. No real surprise there, Len.
No, and I think it dipped a little bit below 90% in terms of reader satisfaction last year, but it's back up above 90% this year. So, and we constantly rave about Boma.
Right. The California Grill continues to hold steady. It had a 79% approval rating, so that's
It's roughly
That's not
speaking
bad.
what it was. No, it's like a couple of things people had commented on there. One is price. The other one was the appetizers weren't that good. Apparently, I don't know if the people who said weren't good. I don't know if they said it wasn't the cuisine, which I think is like an Asian fusion thing, wasn't to their liking, or whether it was of poor quality. That's something we might have to follow up on. But yeah, it's about the same as it was.
Cape May Cafe came in at I would call it
2 out of 3.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. I mean no one's really ever that excited about it, and I think we'll get into it when we get down to what's that? Coral Reef, which is
Speaking of not excited about.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's just both these suffer from, unfortunately. Coral Reef got even a worse rating than
Coral Leaf.
What did I say?
Coral Leaf.
Oh, Coral Reef. Yeah.
Coral. Well, actually, Scopa I think had something that had like a meta theme here about seafood in Walt Disney World.
Yeah.
Well, I think. Well, when you think about the guests who come to Orlando, and there's a large portion of guests who come from the Atlantic states or the Northeast or whatever, and we have very, very good quality seafood up here. I know that when I go down to Orlando, the only fish I'll have the crusted salmon at Hollywood and Vine. That's pretty good. But other than that, I stay away from all seafood down in Florida. And I think that, like you said, Len, there may be a correlation here between Coral Reef and Cape May Cafe. They both offer primarily a seafood cuisine, and they both seem to be suffering the same disease.
And the reason why I mentioned this is I got a couple of emails from folks who live in who are from Maine and from Massachusetts last week who had lobster at, I think it was Shula's, and then also at another family at Narcoossee's, and both of them had said that it was fine, but both of them were completely overcooked. And you really don't want to overcook seafood because then especially lobster, because then it gets really, really rubbery. And I think I just don't know that you can mass produce or cook on a large scale seafood and have it all be of a consistent quality. It's very, very difficult to do. And Disney's all about scale, right?
Yep.
Well, lobsters at Shula's, that must have been a little
Could you imagine how big that lobster was?
You mean the bill? Oh.
Yeah, I know what the bill was because they told me, but it was in excess of $300.
Le Cellier was outstanding and really,
Scopa. Yeah, actually did not get a single negative review from any unofficial guide readers this year. I attribute this entirely to the evangelical zeal of Mike Scopa in promoting
the Scopa Special.
Exactly. Yeah. So for our listeners who don't know, the Scopa Special is the 20-ounce sirloin at
New York Strip.
New York Strip, sorry, at Le Cellier. So when you go there, ask for it by name. That's one of. If we have but 3 goals in this podcast, one is that Pop Century be formally known as formerly known as Scopa Towers. 2 is that you can walk into Le Cellier, order the Scopa Special, and have the waitstaff know what you mean. I forget what the third one is, but oh well.
Must be something to do at Raglan Road.
Something about Raglan Road. Which actually got some pretty positive reviews too.
Chef Mickey's really great reviews as well.
And the thing with like Le Cellier, with Chef Mickey's, with Boma's, I mean these aren't like 10 or 15 people that are reviewing these. These are, I think we got more than 1,000 votes. In this last batch of reviews, I'm not even done tabulating them yet. So,
are you combining, Len? Are you combining like all the meals? Like, are you combining like dinner experiences with lunch experiences, or are they separated by?
It depends actually. If readers note like some readers note this was a breakfast, this was a lunch. Like at Cape May, for example, I don't know why, but people seem to have differentiated between the breakfasts and the dinners there.
Well, because the breakfasts are not seafood.
Yeah, that's right.
So 64% had the two out of 3 people had breakfast, and the unfortunate third decided, dinner. That sounds like a good idea.
That's not really what happened, but yeah. So what we'll do then is we'll break those out even further in the actual guide itself.
Other interesting movers and shakers. We talked about Coral Reef. 50s Primetime Cafe at 68% approval, kind of low.
Yeah, and it's a lot of people voted on it, and I can't say the yeses and the nos were evenly distributed. It's not like they changed their menu that often. I don't know there wasn't a common theme in the whether it was service or food quality or portion size or anything like that. It did drop a little bit from the 06 edition though.
But the real surprise, even more than the 50s Primetime, is Garden Grill.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. That was very interesting. And Matt, we were talking about this before the podcast started, but for virtually all of the theme park restaurants, we have a statistically significant number of votes. And so the Garden Grill, if it was just 5 or 6 people voting yes or no, I could see that was that might swing the odds. But this is a large number of people.
That's really
through
surprising.
Some changes though last year. That Garden Grill went through 2 changes last year. It went from what it had been with the family-style serving of the flank steak and the chicken and the popcorn catfish, and then they went to that elegant dining mode, which happened, I believe, in late April through August, and then they went back to the family style. So maybe there's a...
And that's interesting. What we'll have to do is go back and look at the correlation of dates, because in the reader survey, people enter when they travel. and see if that brings out anything. 'Cause that might be something that Disney would want to look at.
Right. And perhaps equally as surprising, but on the opposite spectrum, is Mama Melrose's got a perfect response in the positive aspect of it, and I was under the impression that no one ate there.
Yeah, not a single person had anything bad to say about Mama Melrose's in the batch of surveys that we've looked at so far. I mean, literally not a single one, which is very, very interesting because I think in the 06 edition it was around 80% positive. So this is really a huge jump up for Mama Melrose's. And I don't recall that they got a new menu or that they have a new chef. Maybe it was the threat of that Muppet diner coming in, but
I think I think a lot of it maybe have to do with the fact that because no one goes there, it's probably the least popular restaurant at the studios in terms of reservations and numbers and people coming through. That perhaps the people just lack of people means you're going to get quicker, better service.
Yeah, but even then, I mean, food quality definitely plays into it because if you, especially Italian, which everyone knows Italian and can compare it to it, right? I mean, pretty much every hometown has a decent Italian place, right?
Yep.
So to go to Disney and for Disney to do Italian, this well, and they still can't do pizzas. Don't get me wrong. Although the pizzas here aren't terrible, but
yeah.
I mean, Mama Melrose's. Just to put this in perspective, last year was like 76% positive. This year it should be above 90. I mean, if again, not all the results are in, but that's a big improvement for them. And so what we've asked our food people to do is to go back and investigate why these restaurants might have improved.
We've got a few minutes left, so let's go through some of the other major surprises. Tony's Town Square got 55% positive, which means basically it was a dead split between people thinking it was good and bad. That's surprising.
The thing, I know it's definitely price plays a factor in here because really most of what they do is pasta.
Yep.
And to pay $18, $19, $20 for pasta is fairly difficult. Actually, it's interesting. This is the second year in a row that they've got the same sort of 50-50 split on it. The big winner though for this year, two big movers in a positive direction. The San Angel Inn in Mexico went from low 70s, upper 60s in terms of positive to almost 90%, 88% positive.
Wow, that's great.
Which was a huge jump for them. And remember, this is also managed by it's not a Disney-owned restaurant. It's managed by the same company that does the Maya Grill over at Coronado Springs. And Maya Grill also did fairly well in this year's review, too. So I don't know, again, if there's management changes there, menu changes, or what they're doing differently. But clearly it's working because it's a big jump over last year. The other big mover in a positive direction is Matt's favorite, the Sci-Fi Dine-In, which it's still ranked only positive by like 61% of readers, but that's a huge improvement from what it was last year.
It's just further proof that movies.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Movies.
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. I couldn't have said it better.
I think people just are really they value the movies and the entertainment factor over the food factor. I'm willing to believe. I believe the 61% think the entertainment. No, not at all. No, what I'm saying is that the 61% think the entertainment is more important and therefore gives it a positive review.
Maybe they're only there for the ice cream. Yeah.
Right, and the 39% I think are the ones who look at what they paid and what they got, and for food and said, wait a minute.
You know what amazes me though about this is the number of people who dine there and then send in reviews even after the unofficial guide said it stunk. which I mean, really, if you figure if you've got there and you send in a survey, you saw what we said about it, and still ate there, and that many people. Said it was getting better, so that's interesting. The other big change, I think, I know we had talked about this on a couple of shows, is we know Ohana went through a big menu change, and I know we all criticized it, but apparently that criticism did not extend to our readers who so far have given it universally positive reviews.
Well, we stink.
The other thing is that are these first-time visits to these restaurants too?
We're definitely looking into a bunch of different correlations, or a bunch of different factors. One being how many times you visited Walt Disney World, another being age, a third being how long you stayed, and other restaurants that you rated positively.
Len, is there any way for our listeners to get a hold of this list, or is it just going to be published in the 2007 guide, and that's really the only way you're going to be able to see
It'll
it?
be published in the guide. This is just a little sneak peek for all y'all.
What about subscribers on touringplans.com? Do you have any plans to put it on there?
Yeah, it'll definitely be there right around the time the guide comes out. Maybe just a little bit before once they get the final ratings, but then it will only be for the theme park restaurants. So if you've got a subscription to the website, you'll see all of the theme park attractions. We don't really have any plans to do restaurants outside the parks. It's really for the book.
Okay, great. Well, that's it for us today. This has been episode number 104 of Walt Disney World Today. 105, actually, sorry. If you want to find older episodes... thank God the show is over. If you want to read our show notes, send us your comments. You can visit the Walt Disney World Today website at www.wdwtoday.com. You can also email us at questions@wdwtoday.com. For Len Testa, Mike Scopa, and Mike Newell, I'm Mark. Not Mark.
Jeez.
Oh, that's a class.
Did you script this?
Actually, and he
Very well.
hesitated. He hesitated. He had to think. He still got it wrong.
Stay classy, San Diego. I'm Matt Hochberg. We'll see you on the next show.
Good night.
Wow.